Jacob gritted his teeth angrily. He had known that Sun Yukai was so vicious, biting him like a dog, and said nothing to ask for this boring. Just when Jacob was so speechless and uncomfortable, Orville's car just stopped at the gate of Classic Mansion. The first thing after getting off the bus is to hurriedly ask the hotel manager who opened the door, "Is there someone named Jacob who has reserved our box today?" "Yes, it's on bronze number 3. The hotel manager will carefully record the guests of the hotel every day, naturally knowing every guest who booked the box today. Orville nodded and hurriedly said, Come to the bronze box number 3 with me." When he was at the Song family banquet, Mr. Wade told him that his old man would come to his restaurant for dinner and let him take care of him. How can he condescend to sit in the small bronze box? He has to go to the diamond box. Orville hurriedly came to the door of bronze box number 3 and found that the door was open, but there was no one in the box. He was taken aback for a moment and asked the waitress in the box, "I ask you, where is Mr. Wilson who booked this box?" The waitress hurriedly said, "Great Mr. Orville, Mr. Jacob was there before, but was invited to the golden box upstairs by other guests just now. He is in the golden box number 2. Orville immediately said to the hotel manager, "Come, follow me." At this time, in the golden box, Sun Yukai looked at Jacob coldly, and still sneered, "Jacob, at your level, I don't think you are even qualified to join the Calligraphy and Painting Association. Why are you embarrassed to compete for the executive director?" Jacob said coldly, "You said I'm not eligible? I think you are not. Even if I'm not eligible anymore, I picked up a leak in the antique street. I bought it for thousands and sold it for hundreds of thousands, have you?" Sun Yukai said contemptuously, "You just blow it. Anyway, your mouth is on your face. You can blow it whatever you want. You can also say that you picked up a leak for thousands and sold for tens of millions. The problem is who believes it." Jacob snorted and said, "If you believe it or not, go to the antique street and ask Irvin Jones. I picked up the omission and he took it." "Irvin Jones?" Sun Yukai frowned, and blurted out, "Irvin Jones is a famous profiteer on Antique Street. He is very treacherous. He is the darkest in the entire Antique Street. Can he spend hundreds of thousands on your things? Kill me. I do not believe." Jacob said contemptuously, "If you don't believe me, you can ask him tomorrow." "Believe you a ghost?" Sun Yukai said with a curled mouth. "I don't bother to talk nonsense with you, and don't see who I am. Is it worthy to eat with us? Pour everyone's wine quickly. If you can't do this thing well, just get out of here. Don't be an eyesore here." Jacob trembled with anger, and was about to speak, when a voice suddenly rang out behind him. "What are you that dare to talk to Mr. Wilson like this? You are too tired and crooked?" When everyone heard this voice, they looked out the door, and saw Orville leading the hotel manager and stepping into the box. Naturally, Sun Yukai knew Mr. Orville. When he saw Mr. Orville was here, he hurriedly stepped forward and said respectfully, "Mr. Orville, why are you here in person?" Unexpectedly, Orville glanced at him coldly, and said, "Just now you called Mr. Wilson the old master, was it you?" Sun Yukai was stunned. "What do you mean? Orville knows Jacob?" Thinking of this, he hurriedly explained, "Great Mr. Orville, this is probably a misunderstanding. Both Jacob and I are members of the Calligraphy and Painting Association. We usually have a good relationship with each other. Occasionally ridicule is not a big deal." Orville frowned, saw Jacob, and hurriedly said respectfully, "Mr. Wilson, I didn't expect you to visit Classic Mansion today. Orville's bad greetings, please forgive me." Everyone in the room was shocked to see such a scene. Especially Sun Yukai, who was scared into a cold sweat at this moment, couldn't believe his eyes at all. The underground Emperor Orville, who is famous throughout Orus Hill, is actually so respectful to Jacob, the old rag? Isn't this 2FC King bullshit? At this time, it was not only President Pei and others who were surprised. Jacob was also taken aback and couldn't help asking, "Do you know me?" Orville explained with a humble face, Last time in the Brilliant Club, when Mr. Wade ordered me to dispose of Panming and Wang's son-in-law, I was fortunate to see you. Jacob asked again. Mr. Wade that you said is my son-in-law Charlie? Orville said solemnly. Yes, it is Mr. Wade. Jacob suddenly realized. Only then did he want to understand, as Orville's lofty status, how could he condescend and be so respectful to himself, an ordinary person who has no money and power, and co-authored because of his son-in-law Charlie. It seems that the son-in-law is a big flicker, and it also has the benefits of a big flicker. At least before he is free of thunder, he can follow him. At this time, Orville pointed to Sun Yukai and asked Jacob, Mr. Wilson, I just heard this person insult you. Do you want me to teach him a lesson? Sun Yukai paled with fright, and hurriedly said, Jacob, brother, we are members of an association, we are all brothers, you have to help me say something.